This morning, you're in for a real treat. David Marks, who is the digital media strategist here at Weiskopf Consulting, is going to give you a demo in Canva. Before we get started, I'm just going to do a quick poll for each of you, if you could answer. I wanted to know who uses Canva and if you use the free or the pro version. I'm going to talk while you guys are answering that. Today you have chat open, which clearly all of you know how to use because you've been on Zoom for a while. And we have the Q&A. If you have a question, please put it in the Q&A. David will stop at natural breaks and ask me if there's any questions because I'm managing that. If it's a technical question that you need me to answer, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm going to be monitoring both. Okay, so I'm going to share my results with you guys. It looks like less of you are using it if it's a 50-50 split that don't know it, which is great. This is a great learning. And all of you that are using it are using the free version, which is great. The free version is fabulous. David's going to tell you both about the free version and the pro version today. And I am going to introduce David Marks, our digital marketing strategist. I am going to stop sharing my screen so that David can share his. Are you there, David?
Yes. Can everyone hear me okay?
Raise a hands. Let's have some hands raised there.
See, 3, 6, there it goes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I said you can share.
Yep, I'm just doing that now.
Okay, great.
Can everyone see my screen? It looks like it is being shared if I'm doing this correctly. Virginia, can you see my screen okay?
I can see your screen. You're doing great, David.
All right. Okay. So hello, everyone. As Virginia mentioned, my name is Dave Marks. I'm digital media specialist with Weiskopf Consulting. And today we're going to talk about Canva, which some of you, as I noticed on the poll, didn't necessarily have any experience with Canva, which is totally fine. But I'm going to explain why it's a resource that you kind of need to use. Gone are the days of Photoshop and utilizing heavy programs that took a lot of skill and had a steep learning curve in order to learn how to use them. And then along came Canva, and Canva is an awesome graphic design program that is super intuitive and super easy to use. So why don't I show you how to get started here. So first off, you have to create an account. Just go to www.canva.com, set up an account. All you have to do is give them your email, create a password, verify, that kind of thing. Once you get that done, then you get into the meat and bones of it all. This is basically your home screen. This is where you'll log on, and this is what will pop up. On the left-hand side, you see you can create a design right here. Then there's this home tab, which is what we're looking at now. And I'll get into what each of these means in a little bit. All your designs, templates, photos, apps, brand kit, design school, and then team. So as I mentioned, this is the home page that we're seeing. If I wanted to go and look at all of my designs that I've done in the past, all I would do is click on all your designs. Might take a second to load. I guess we're already here. And then this would show all the designs that I've created in the past. And that's one of the benefits, one of the many benefits of using Canva is if you use this in a team, then all of the graphics that your team creates will show up here. So there's no real needing to go to Google Drive to go to a shared folder. You can just do it on Canva. And if your team needs access to a design that someone else created, they will have access to it. So over here, we'll get back to create a design. And another benefit of Canva is that it has suggested dimensions for graphic sizes. So for example, if I wanted to do one based off of a Facebook, perfect for Facebook size posts, I would obviously click Facebook post. If I were to wanted to do an animated social media, a little more on the advanced side, I could do that. Instagram post, and essentially what that does is it creates dimensions that are specifically meant for that given platform, or for example, a flyer. And I want you to think about that Canva isn't just for social media. It's also for basically whatever you want to create. So flyers, presentations, posters, videos, logos, basically anything you can put into print or now even into video, think of going to Canva first. So that would be the creative design portion of it. You can also do a custom dimensions. Let's say you have some funky kind of dimension that you need, like 560 by 400. These are just basic dimensions in pixels. The size of the graphic that you'll be creating, either pixels, inches, you can change it. I recommend just staying at pixels. Makes it super simple. But that's how you create a design. Templates, right under here, is a handy little feature that allows you to create basic graphics that have already been sort of fine-tuned. And what I mean by that is the bones are in there, the structure, the key elements are in there. All you would need to do is go in, change the title, for example, change out some of the colors if you needed to, change out some of the photos. Very customizable. Basically just create what you need to create and you'll have access to it. Photos, over here is basically what it sounds like. So real life photos, it shows a whole bunch of different stock photos. Some are free, some cost money. Really depends on kind of what plan you're in, either free or pro. And as Virginia mentioned, I'll get into that later. But the nice thing about Canva that I like is even if you are on the free plan, the stock photos that they sell are like $1 or $5 or $10 based on the type of licensing that you'll be using them for. For the majority of social media posts and stuff that you'll be doing digitally, it'll be just $1. And then you can use it on a social media post in your website, you'll be good to go. After photos, we have apps. Again, a little bit more advanced, but this is if you would like to integrate different apps with your account. So if any of you know what HubSpot is, it's a basic CRM, customer relationship management service. And what you can do is you can connect different apps that would work with your Canva account. So for example, if I wanted to integrate my MailChimp account, I would sign in and then save all the designs to the files in MailChimp so there wouldn't have to be going back and forth or downloading from Canva and uploading to MailChimp. Super simple, but again, a little more on the advanced side. That's not really what we're going to be focusing in on today, but you can also upload GIFs or GIFs or whatever you want to call it. And another source of free photos would be Pexels, which is a great sort of design. They offer free stock photos. It's an awesome thing to use if you like. You can use QR codes, integrate Google Drive. So instead of saving to the Canva account, you'll be saving to Google Drive. Again, just basic extensions. Think of it as an extension of Canva. Not really getting into that today, but something that you can pursue later on if you need to. Brand kit. So brand kit, this is where you have if you have the pro account, this is where you have the basic, your profile pics, your logos, the colors you use, all that sort of stuff, but it's only available to the pro accounts. You can also upload, if your account uses certain fonts or your brand uses certain fonts, you can upload those fonts, but only in the pro service. Design School is another nice little feature. This is if you are basically starting fresh and have a whole bunch of questions and not really sure where to go in terms of graphic design, then this is a great place to start. And essentially it teaches you all sorts of things about graphic design, about Canva, about branding, presentations. Great resource to have. Definitely worthwhile to check out once you create your account. And on that note, are there any questions, Virginia? Yes.
There was a question, but it's about dollars and cents, and I can answer that one. So when I went and upgraded to the pro account for you, I did it on the other one.
Okay.
We have 2 accounts, but I just upgraded this one to Pro, so I don't know if you can refresh or if you can log out and log back in, and it
Yeah,
will
let me
give
see.
you those functionalities that you need to
That would be
show.
great.
That was
Looks
just a
like
miscommunication between us.
that's okay. But it looks like I have access to it
Great.
right now. And you said the other question could be, you could answer it?
Yeah, it's about how much it costs for the Canva Pro.
And
So
I
that was
will,
the first one.
and I'll get into that. So thank you.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you have a certain brand color that you want to use, and you know the hex numbers of it, which is just basically a color for it. So let's say it's HT. Well, no, it's not typing for me. Let's just pick one over here. This is it. And then what you do is you accept it, and every time you open up a design, those colors will be made available to you. So you won't need to find necessarily the color each time you need to use it. It'll be there for you. And this will make more sense in a second once I kind of go through creating a design. But let's say we want to create a Facebook post. Super simple. It, again, as I mentioned, it creates the perfect dimension for Facebook. So you don't have to worry about that at all. The first thing you'll find over on the left side are templates. These are images that have basically already been created, but and I'll show you how it works with templates over here. Let's say you want to change this text. All you would do is double click and type in some new text. And there you go, extremely customizable if you wanted to change the color of the background. And as I mentioned, brand colors, this is the one that I created earlier. Just put it in there and it's good to go. Let's say you don't like this particular photo, click on it, press delete, and then you can go to, and I'll get into these a little bit more later, but let's say you want to replace it for whatever reason with what looks like a doctor of some sort. You just put it down, click the button, drag it over, and there you go. Again, super simple. That was based off of a template though. Let's get into creating our own little design using just nothing. So here we go. Over on the left side, before I get into that, this is, as I mentioned, the area where you will create a design. Templates is over here. Photos, as I had mentioned, think of real world photos that you can use. You can search anything you want. So let's say lightning, for example. I don't know why my caps lock is on, but with the Pro account, a lot of these come for free, quote unquote free. You're paying for it, but it's essentially free to users who have the Pro account. Here's a lightning bottle. All I do is double click on it, drag it over, and resize it, do all sorts of filters, effects on this side. And I know I'm going kind of fast, but I'm trying to cover as much ground as I possibly can. So when you think of real world photos, think of this photo section. Now, when you're thinking elements, think of drawings, think of graphics that have been created, not necessarily with a camera, but with like Photoshop or some other elements that you can create graphics with. So let's say we wanted to look into an apple, and this is going to be a really weird looking graphic, but all the apples that you created, that have been created, that you want to use, you can scroll through. There's a whole bunch that you can look through the actual apple from Apple Corporation. But again, they offer you so many different types of options. That's one of the huge benefits of Canva. If you don't like one, chances are you'll find another element, for example, that you like somewhere else. It's a great way to create graphics. So we drag our apple over here. Say we want it down here somewhere. We can recolor it. No, we can't recolor this one, but just want to add an apple to lightning for some reason. So next we go to text. This is where you can add text to whatever you want to. So let's say watch, for example. And let's say you don't like the space between watch out for and lightning. That's what this toolbar essentially does. You can change the font. And with the Pro version, these little crowns, if you don't have the Pro version, you can't use them. But since we do, I will use this one. Excuse me, you can resize it. So let's say I wanted to go a little bigger, go down to 72. Obviously it gets bigger. Change the font. I could change it to a brand font, for example, this one down here, although it doesn't really stick out too well. I can also change it, and this is one of the cool features that they've added. So if you look over here in photo colors, you'll see the colors that were used in the photo that you uploaded from Canva. So if you see there's some of this in the lightning, there's some of this in the picture, and it kind of blends in, you'll understand why. There's also default colors. You can add a color, whatever color you want. You can type in white, white will show up. You can type in a hex number, let's say 00235 ND, whatever, and it'll show up. Very customizable. Whatever specifications you're looking for, you can do on Canva. Music and videos, I'll get into in a little bit. Background, if you wanted to change the background of the video, let's say we didn't want the lightning here, I would just cancel it out or resize it. Oops, sorry. Oops, sorry. I'm not doing this right. I would trash it. That's what I would do. And then I'd go over here. Let's say I actually wanted a gradient. Put that in there. It magically applies it, perfectly sized. It's on the bottom because we got it from the background portion. Again, the search function is very, very easy to use and intuitive. So let's say I just wanted blue. Everything that had blue tagged in it will show up. You can change it out over here. Easy, super simple. Uploads is the section where you can upload your own images if you wanted to use them. Totally acceptable. Let's say, for example, you have a photo that you've used in the past for marketing reasons that you took. Upload them here. They'll all be in one key location where different parties can use them and access them if you have the team function set up. Folders. So this is where you can create folders. And since we have a Pro account, we can create multiple folders, add in different types of folders. Yeah, very simple to use. So let's say I wanted to download this. I think that was it in terms of the toolbar. Are there any questions, Virginia?
There's no questions yet, and I'll give them a second to think, but I had two questions that came up for me. Is when you did a brand kit, can I have more than one brand kit?
So I think brand kit is just one,
Okay.
but I would have to look into that a little further.
And then if I've uploaded a bunch of photos and I don't want them in there anymore, can we delete them from the uploads?
So go to uploads, and in the uploads, there's this 3 little dot section. It'll let you move to a folder, download original, remove from folder, or trash it.
So you can manage that so that everything is in there, and if you're looking for something, great.
Exactly.
Okay, we do have some questions now that mine are done.
Okay.
Can you talk about the team function?
So team function is one that is used for the Pro account, and there's 3 different levels of each team member. So there's an admin role, there's a basic user role, and then there's one on the lower end. I don't know the names off the top of my head, but essentially what it does is it basically gives you different user privileges so there's a super admin that can control all of the different aspects of the account. There's a creator, which can just basically create stuff. And then there's another level. So it's kind of, think along the lines of, if any of you are used to Facebook admin roles, it's similar to that, just giving different levels of access to different portions of the account.
David, do they pay then per team member?
So if you go with the Pro account, it is free for 10 members, quote unquote free, you're paying the monthly fee. In terms of the free account, I do not think they even offer that team as an option. Or actually they do offer it, but you can't give certain roles to those individuals. but you do not have to pay for teams. I think the limit is up to 10 though.
Okay, there's a vague question here. It says line spacing question mark.
Oh, I did not get to that. I apologize. So back to the toolbar. So you see up here, I got carried away. I'm sorry about that. So you can change the text color if you'd like. We already talked about that. You can bold it, italicize it, center it, alignment, all that sort of stuff. You can bullet it. You can also change the spacing, but these three little dots kind of hide more options for you. You can underline it. You can all uppercase it. Then you can change the letter, and let me expand my screen a little bit so everyone can see. So if I wanted to change the letter spacing, which is basically the spacing between each letter, I can do that, make it smaller, make it bigger. As you can see, it's moving. I can make the line height smaller or bigger. Usually they start at 1.4, which I think is a little high. It makes it look kind of funny. So I just drag it down, and then there you go. Any other questions?
Yep. What would you use folders for?
So folders is a good idea if you have many projects. So let's say your team is focusing on a campaign that's coming up in the spring, and you want to keep them separate from a campaign you have coming up in the summer. It's a great way to organize different assets, essentially.
One more question here.
Sure.
Is, can you adjust resolution print versus online use?
Can you adjust
So,
resolution?
do you understand the question?
Not necessarily, no.
So when you create these, they're a lower pixelation.
Yes.
And it works perfect on a website or any of the social media sites. But if you want to take that same item and do it to print, can you get it in a higher resolution?
So yes, but there is a section where you can do this. So let's say we wanted to download an image. First I would go over here or this downward arrow, click on download, and this gives you the option to resize it. Now this option you're seeing right here is only for the Pro account. So if you wanted to make it bigger, you can see the dimensions getting bigger down there. Make it smaller, you can, but this is only available for the Pro account, as are the transparent background, and you can compress the file to make it lower quality for websites. And I should also mention you can change the type of file. So if you wanted a JPEG versus a PNG, you can do PDFs, videos, GIFs, animations, the works, essentially.
We have two more questions before you
Sure.
move on.
Yep.
How can you use this for PowerPoint slides?
So that would be, you would have to start with the template of presentations. I don't necessarily know, I don't have too much experience with the presentation portion of it, and I don't know if you can even connect the presentations to PowerPoint. I'm guessing they have a way to do that, but I do not have a lot of experience with that.
I would assume you can create a graphic that you can download and import into your slide presentation.
I would think so too.
As a basic way.
Yeah, it's a basic workaround, yep.
Okay, let's move on. There's one more, but I'm gonna let it sit, okay?
Okie dokie, sounds good. So, as I mentioned here, that's basically how you download things. Now, let's say we wanted to create a video. So, start the whole process over. And I'm not gonna download my great graphic on Lightning. I think it can just wait. So let's say I wanted to go to video. And this is where choosing the correct design matters. On some of the other ones, for example, you could do a Facebook post for an Instagram post. You can create a Twitter photo for a Facebook post, etc. But if you want to create a video, the best way to do that would be to actually click on video when creating a design. There's a great amount of templates, as I had mentioned earlier, that you can use. So some of these already have the videos behind them. So let's click on this one. Again, all you have to do is click on it, and let's say you don't like the video in the background. What you would have to do is you'd have to upload an actual video, so an MP4 preferably, And once you do that, you would just drag it over and it would begin playing in the background. Now for downloading, and oh, sorry, I skipped one, to add music, which they offer some options for music, but not a whole bunch. So if you have a source for music that you would prefer to use, again, download it from that source and upload it to Canva. But they do have some that you can use. Just click on it, it drags it over and starts playing. And to download it, as I had mentioned, video obviously is what you want. You could do a GIF, but I would recommend video. And then it downloads it as an MP4. Again, you can do the same thing with the photos as you can do with videos. Let's say I wanted to change this feature. Waves are cool, let's go with. And I wanted to change the graphic over here. I would just click on it, delete it, go over to elements. For example, let's say I wanted to add another apple because I'm feeling hungry. You can create smaller or bigger portions of the apple, bring it over here. And then if I wanted to test it, all I would do is click it, and there you see the video. And then you can download it as you would a normal image, just obviously choosing the video portion. So on that front, I want to discuss Canva versus Canva Pro. So my takeaway from using Canva for a while now is if you are A, a nonprofit, or B, plan on creating 1, 2 or more social media posts or graphics or videos per week, I would recommend going for Canva Pro. It's $9.95 per month on an annual fee, and then $12.95 per month when it's billed monthly. But what the difference is, and you could always start out for free and play around with it, see if you have any use for it, and then upgrade to Pro later on. Obviously, they will always take your money. But what Pro gives you is you get access to those photos that I had shown you. So the photos over here, if we had a Pro account, they would have this little crown and I would not be able to use them because they'd be watermarked. But because we have a Pro account, I could just drag it over and it does not have a watermark. It's good to go. So that's one of the benefits of Canva Pro. Another benefit would be to uploading our own fonts, also pretty big, or in addition, using fonts that have a lot more fonts essentially. So you see these crowns, these would not be available to me if we did not have a Pro account, but because we do, I can use them. Just a nice little feature. You also have the brand kit. As I had mentioned, it allows you to add colors, upload logos all in one place. You can have unlimited folders in Canva Pro. Resize, as I had mentioned, which if you're going to be sharing a lot of the same graphics across many different media, it's pretty handy. Pro also offers access to premium animations and you get priority support. Now, I had mentioned before that if you are a nonprofit, this is something that you absolutely should do because Canva offers this great feature called Canva Pro for nonprofits. And essentially you get the Canva Pro rate for free. They don't charge anything. You get all access to everything offered with the regular Canva Pro account, but everything is free. There is an application process that you have to fill out. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes, but not very long. Their turnaround time is extremely short. So if you don't get anything back within a day or two, I would send it in again. But I've done this a couple times for a couple of clients that we've worked with, and it is super easy. And that kind of describes Canva as a whole. Very intuitive, very easy to use, and you can kind of let your creativity flow. So I know we discussed a lot, but what questions do you have?
I have questions. So
Sure.
the first one is, which design form works best for a Zoom external background image if you're creating one?
So I would need to know the dimensions of the Zoom background. I'm assuming it's 1920 by 1080, which is basically the standard video dimensions. But I would have to look into that. I've never created a background for Zoom, but I'm pretty sure it'd be 1920 by 1080. And then just download it as a PNG.
Yeah, that would be fine. It just has to be a higher resolution. That's what they need to remember and add the right size. You're absolutely right, David.
Yep.
Here's one about video clips. For
Sure.
video clips, can you change the duration or can it loop?
So that's a great question, and that's one thing that I did not get into. It's a little convoluted the way they do it. So yes, you can change the duration of it. What I recommend doing is either copying the page or adding a new page. And what that does, obviously, is it creates another page with basically the same length as the previous page. But as you can see, if I were to preview it, do that, got some nice music there. But if I were to preview it, which this music doesn't really match the
We can't
video.
hear the music, David, so
Okay,
that's
good.
not.
So as you see, it goes from one basically seamlessly into the next page. So that's a way to kind of lengthen it, change the size of it. It's not the easiest thing to do in Canva. I still think they have a little work to do on it. But if you wanted to make it longer, I would recommend adding a new page, or to make things simpler, duplicating a page and then just changing the elements in the page.
Can you upload your own fonts?
Yes, with the Pro account. So if you have a Pro account, you are more than welcome to upload your own. But if you have a free account, they don't let you do that. As I use this more and more, I realize the significance of the Canva Pro account. And as I had mentioned earlier, if you're creating even 1 to 2 plus graphics per week for social media, you'll probably be paying for different elements that will add up eventually to about $10 a month. So if you have any money initially, I just recommend booking it for a year. You'll be amazed how much you'll use Canva.
Okay, the next one, and I'm looking this up because I'm not sure if you know the answer. Nonprofit,
Okay.
is that only a 501c3 or a 501c6? Do you know the answer to that, David?
I can tell you what they look for, and I think they look solely for a 501c3, to be honest. If I were being totally honest, I don't even know what a 501c6 is. So you kind of caught me off guard on that one.
Yeah, I'll
but
continue to look, David. I'll read another question for you.
sure.
Okay, so you can go on and I can do a little, see if I can figure it out.
Okay.
Would you use Canva video as a YouTube video if you were creating your own?
So you can absolutely create videos for YouTube if that's what he or she is asking. What you would do is, as I mentioned earlier about the apps, you can integrate YouTube with Canva. So instead of downloading it from Canva, then uploading it to YouTube, what you would do is you would just upload it straight to YouTube from Canva, and then you'll have the video in YouTube. If you're not quite okay with that scenario, just download it from Canva, and you'll get an MP4 file, which you can then upload to YouTube. That's another great thing about Canva. It's just so easy.
So I did find the question to the nonprofit
Sure.
answer. This
Sure.
is what it says on Canva. Organizations that do not have 501c3 designation, but rather a 501c4 or 501c6 or other nonprofit status do not qualify.
Okay, there we
So
go.
the
And that's
answer
what,
is
yeah,
no. I'm
no.
very sorry to tell you.
And that's what the way I was leaning, but I didn't know for sure because I remember filling out the application a couple times and it's saying 501c3 documentation specifically.
Yeah, sorry about that. Next question. Can you upload a logo and then fade it out to become a background watermark?
Yes, so let me show you how to do that real quick. We'll go here, create a quick Facebook post, and I'm just using a photo, for example, but if you wanted to use a logo, you would go to uploads and it would be in that section. But because, actually, hold on. Yeah, this is all the integrations, but because I'm just using a photo for as an example, click on it, and to kind of increase the transparency of it, see this little, click on a picture and you see this little faded transparency. section, click on it, and you can adjust as you need be. So this applies to any picture, any element, any logo you'd like to upload. You can change the transparency of it pretty simply.
Yeah, Yvonne, I'm sorry about, she's the one who asked the question about the 501c3
C6, yeah.
but the pro account is $10 a month. You just want to put it in perspective. If you
honestly, yeah, go ahead.
Right, if you create all of those different, 10 different ones, that's $1 a piece that you've created. So it's a great tool, and I think it's affordable.
Absolutely.
I have a question while we wait for other questions.
Sure.
Is can I upload my own video to use?
So yes, you can actually. So you would just go to the upload section over here, upload an image or video, picks from my local source, and there we go. And that's essentially, it would just show up here in the upload section instead of the video section because you uploaded it, obviously. Any MP4 will work.
Okay, that's all the questions I have so far. Are we going to something else, or do you want to do a wrap-up?
We could do a wrap-up. That's all I had. I know it was a lot of information, but again, highly recommend the getting the pro account. If you have any takeaways from it, would be that it's an extremely valuable tool that I am using day in and day out.
Okay, I am going to share my screen. Oh, there's a couple more questions here, David. Unmute yourself, yeah.
Yep.
Then once you upload your video to Canva, you can add text and graphics.
Yep. So basically just like how I showed you before, and I don't have my screen sharing capabilities, but essentially, no, it's all good. Essentially what you do is you would go to the upload section of Canva, click on the video, drag it over, and then whatever text, whatever elements, whatever photos, stock photos that they offer, you can add to it. You can also add your own pictures to the video, throw them in there. It's super intuitive.
That's great. So I want to thank everyone for coming today. What we want to do on Fridays is do a quick, short learning experience that you can see it, and then you can go test it out. This is being recorded. It will end up on my recorded pages in YouTube. So